If you own a service-based business and want to get more appointments via Outbound, I'm going to tell you exactly how to do it. And the reason I'm able to tell you exactly how to do it is because I own Phantom Brands, a service-based business that creates and grows brands for public figures and existing brands. And we built that all on Outbound. So I understand what works. And beyond that, I also am a mentor and coach to agency owners that also follow this strategy and have great results. To crush Outbound, you need to understand your target audience at a very deep level, psychologically. Everything in business is psychological. We'll get into that another time. But you need to understand where they're coming from. Put yourself in their shoes, okay? They get 20 of these messages a day. They've probably been burned by multiple agencies in the past, and they're very busy, right? So we need to lower the skepticism. We need to lower the friction. We need to make it such an easy yes and a compelling yes for them to even talk to us, but get on a phone with us as well. And there's a couple ways we do that. First things first, though. First impression is everything. People buy from people. That will never change. Doesn't matter with AI, with social media, people buy from people. So if you want to stand out, you need to have some sort of brand you're reaching out to, okay? Cold email is very difficult. It's a very, very big volume game. But if you can reach out from a personal brand or a brand of your company with competent content, with authority content, it shows your expertise, it shows what you look like, what you sound like. All of these things are really important. Nobody wants to make a purchase or have a conversation with somebody they can't see, they don't know. None of this stuff. It's a turnoff. If somebody can go to your profile after you message them and understand what you look like, what you sound like, what you talk about, who you've helped, they're much more inclined to talk to you. And that has to do with increasing certainty and lowering skepticism, right? That's all what this ties into, because humans have basic needs, and one of them is for certainty. So anything we can do to increase their certainty, the better. Now, first impressions are very, very, very important in terms of Outbound. And the best way to make a great first impression is to send a 60-second video, okay? It does a lot of things for the prospect. Let me tell you about a couple of them. One, it shows that you're actually willing to put in a little bit of effort into Outbound, right? You're not lazy, because lazy is just like, hey, this is what I do, blah, blah, blah. It puts a face to the name. It's personalized. And in the video, here's what's really, really important to nail, right? And here's why a soft skill like communication, articulation, selling, talking in front of a camera is so valuable, is because it's oftentimes with that first impression going to make or break you, right? I don't care if you have such an amazing offer that people will like fall over for it. If you sound, they're going to think you're scamming or lying. That's how powerful the ability to communicate is. So communication is a soft skill that is very important to spend time on. Now, in this 60-second video pitch, okay, we want to be touching on a couple things. Who the heck we are, what we do, who we've worked with, our clear path to revenue, or the clear benefits that we can help them with to benefit their life. Call to action. Call to action, or basically who is in charge of this so we can move this forward. And the reason why this works so well, if you're a good articulator, is because it knocks off so many potential objections and fears in 60 seconds, right? It's like, who the heck is this person? Check. What the heck did they do? Check. Well, who have they even worked with? Check. Well, what can they even do for me? Check. Well, what would even be next if I want to move forward? Check. All of these things are mental objections that they just are too afraid to ask you. And this happens in every single sales process, customer acquisition journey, everything. We all have conscious and subconscious objections, fears, all of this stuff, right? But a lot of times we don't want to say it. We don't want to ask it. So it's our job to know ahead of time that they're going to have these issues, and we're going to answer it already in this video, okay? Now, you also want to show, and by the way, I'm aware of people doing, the 10-minute video, a 15-minute video, sending it off. I think generally speaking, that is a low waste of time unless they're already a warm prospect, and I'll get into that another time, but this is just Outbound. So that first video needs to be crisp, sharp, clean, etc. And then what you want to do is in the text that you send the video in, you want to also link your VSL, your landing page, your website, etc., to give them more information. So not only will they see you, talk personally to them, they'll see your brand that you're reaching out from, but they'll also get a lot more information on what you do, like increasing certainty, right, with the VSL. That is your initial message, okay? This message works so well for the reasons I just told you. Now, in terms of your sequencing, your follow-ups, what you should be doing, etc., let's say you don't get a response, which is fine, right? Let's say they're completely cold, you don't get a response. there's a couple different ways we can follow up with people to really give them that reassurance and really drive the conversation forward, okay? One of them is an impactful FAQ document, okay, like an asset. And in this FAQ, you literally, it's like a psychological hack, man. It's like I don't want to say it's manipulation, but it's just, I'm a businessman doing business, okay? In this FAQ, you want to write out the biggest fears that people typically have with going with your service, okay? Let's just say, well, I don't want to work with another agency because of the long-term commitment is 3 months. And what if I don't see any results? You're literally going to have a fact and question section about your commitment length, about your results, about your flexibility. Boom. That problem is now averted via FAQ sheet. You're going to also talk about potentially pricing. You're also going to talk about potentially the time it takes to see results, what they can expect when they become a client, right? So we future pace them so they know, because they may be interested in your offer, but they're not sold on, well, I like this person, or what will happen if I'm actually a client? Will they drop the ball? You can solve all of these potential issues in an FAQ sheet that you send to them for free, okay? That's the power of an FAQ follow-up. Now, in this asset, you want probably 6 things, something like that, something beefy and really, really specific on exactly what the issues are, right? Like the biggest issues, you're going to answer for them without them even asking you. That's the power of an FAQ, okay? That is going to be one of your touch points. I recommend consistently 4 touch points, right? If at a certain point they respond, then it goes into a new sequence. But let's just say they're not responding, okay? Another really good follow-up as well, if you're doing a service-based business and it's around B2B and you're helping businesses in some degree, is to offer a consulting service, okay? The reason that this is powerful is it's a foot in the door. This consulting service that you can offer them also allows them, if they have somebody currently doing it internally, for them not to have to fire anybody. Like, think about that. Think about your prospects for a second. Let's say you're a copywriter and you're outbounding for copy. And this business has an internal copywriter. Maybe they're doing a decent job. Maybe they're not amazing, but like, do you think they want to fire them? Like, that is the commitment you're asking for when you just reach out to somebody. Like, fire your current team and hire me even though you don't know me. It's a massive ask. That is a ton of friction. Like, that's an amount of friction where people won't even want to talk to you. They're like, I don't even want to entertain that because it's so much work for such an unpredictable payoff. Crisis averted, right? If there's somebody doing it internally, or they're doing it in-house, or they already have an agency, or it's a solopreneur, etc., this is a fantastic route to get your foot in the door. Because what it's going to do is it's going to drop the investment level, not only time, but also money, obviously, and resources, and them to get a tangible benefit with such a lower ask. No commitment. It could be a one-off or, continual. And it's a foot in the door so that if they like you, and let's say you consult their internal team or you consult the founder, etc., if they like you, like, you'll eventually be the guy or the woman. You'll eventually be the person that they're going to for all their things, and they bring you on board full-time as their agency, right? So offer a consulting service, and that could be one of your touch points. Be like, hey, I work with a lot of teams, and a lot of times they already have an internal person, or they've been burned before by agencies, and they don't want to make that level of commitment, which is why we offer a consulting service to give you all of our strategies, expertise, and things that have worked for us for similar brands for you without any of those strings attached. Boom. That's how you get somebody to say yes to you. You also want to give them the option of moving forward without a call. Okay, I know this might sound a little bit crazy, but in 2024, everybody's pushing for discovery call, free audit, free blah, like the call to action, etc. And real G's can close via DMs. So give them the option. Be like, hey, I know that time's of the essence. We don't even need a call. I need to understand where I can help you. And then I'll give you all the information on my end of what I do, and we can continue the conversation forward. Because it's also a fear of your prospects of hopping on a call and getting like aggressively closing something they don't need. That is a fear, right? That is a fear. So how do we solve that problem? Because at every fear, at every objection, at every obstacle, at every piece of your customer acquisition system, funnel, whatever you want to call it, and beyond that, for every piece of your business, there's bottlenecks and problems that need to be solved. And so if they have a massive objectional fear, like psychological, about getting on sales calls because maybe they just like buy quick, we don't need to do that. Give me your login to your information or share access. I want to look at the back end, and I'm going to provide you the free audit I would on the phone via DMs. I'll just send you bullets You don't even have to watch a video. Who the F won't say yes to that? Lower the friction, lower the skepticism. It's all about proving yourself as competent and an expert without asking for a lot in return. That's when you get people to say yes and actually get meetings, okay? So those are a couple sequences that you can do as well. Now, let's say, and by the way, I gave you 2 follow-ups. Another follow-up, like a third follow-up, can be case studies. They can be a Miro, any sort of free value to show your competence, to show you're an authority. Anything of that nature is great to send. Be like, hey, I recently made this lead, don't say lead magnet, but like I recently made this this Miro on best practices for XYZ service that we see with XYZ brands. I wanted to send it to you. I think you'd benefit from it. That's a powerful touch point. Very powerful touch point. It's value follow-ups. You don't want to be asking for follow-ups, right? You're proving yourself to them, and then they give you money. Win-win. So those are a bunch of different follow-ups you can follow. I would suggest in terms of frequency, like every other day they're not responding. Now let's say they respond to something and they send you like an email to talk to somebody or like something of the kind. They're not totally dead cold in the water. What I want you to do is I want you to send them a mini audit on your service and how it can benefit their company directly. Okay, the 60 seconds great, but now that we have some engagement with them, I want you to lure them in with even more value. Okay, let's go back to copywriting. This would mean shooting a Loom video or sending them an asset document on everything you notice with their pop-up flow, with the copy on their product page or website or landing page, their welcome flow, their abandoned cart flow, everything you pick up from them, literally give them everything you do for them. You would be surprised how many people get something from people in this way and not do it and just hire them instead. Happens all the time. So I want you to give them that free value follow-up if they're a warm lead, right? And I want you to tell exactly what you would fix, exactly what you would do, and I want you to tie it to benefits for them. Like, as we're selling and as we're persuading and influencing, everything goes back to the lead, to the customer. It has nothing to do with what you do. That's very irrelevant. What you do and how you execute it in the service is very irrelevant. How are you making their lives better? How are you enhancing their life? How are you making them more money? How are you giving them more time? That's what matters. Everything else is fluff and they don't even care. So we tie everything back in to how this is going to help them, right? So as you're going through this audit, you're going to be saying, and we would change let's just stick with copywriting. We would change the pop-up flow to this and this and this, which would then lead to you having higher conversions or more conversions via email or more signups, right? And more signups for you would mean more money, and more money for you would mean more freedom because then you can hire and you can do all these sorts of things in your business. You can reinvest, you can invest in property, whatever. That's powerful. That's powerful. You don't want to say you can do this for your pop-up and it would probably work. Weak. That's weak. You want to say we're going to do this for your pop-up. It's going to increase signups in the pop-up. It's also going to increase your email list and how much money you're making from email, which in then turn means you have more time to yourself. You can hire more, you can invest, you can do all these things. That's what they care about. This is turning into a sales masterclass, but like that is the game. And influence, persuasion, sales, marketing, it's relevant in outbound and inbound in every step of customer acquisition and honestly customer retention. So that's a fantastic follow-up to a warm lead, okay? Now, in terms of sequencing and getting them on the phone, we already said that we can give them an option of not doing a phone call, right? But in this initial phone call, which our call to action should be around value, right? Like we should be positioning the call as something they're going to benefit from, which they should, which they will. And the best I've seen for service-based businesses is to provide them genuine value on this one-on-one call, on this initial free call, this mini call. Don't even pitch. Literally don't even pitch. Literally just provide them value, and they, at the end, will say, okay, how can I work with you if you're good? If you're decent, you then transition and schedule the next call. Okay, so what that would be like is you give them an audit, you give them a breakdown, you find out their pain points, you say, okay, this is what I would do if I were you. This is how we would help you. This is what, we can kind of do. And then be like, well, I don't have time today, but if you'd like, we could then talk about how we can actually help you and be a part of your business and consult or take it by the reins, whatever, on another call. How's that sound? You lower sales resistance, you lower skepticism because they already met you, you lower friction. Also, it's the act of reciprocation. When you do something for somebody, they feel naturally inclined to do something for you, and that will be getting another call. Isn't that beautiful? That is called reciprocation. That is why giving free value is so important. And by the way, this is getting really, really in depth, but it's okay. Let's say you book a call 3 days out from when you first do the outbound. You should have sequences in between then of assets, of the FAQ if you didn't send it, of videos to warm them up and increase show rate. So you have now the framework of setting appointments for your service-based company. This has worked for public figures from my company via Instagram, okay? This has also worked for students of mine that started at absolute zero. And by the way, if you're afraid of getting on camera, you're gonna get left behind. Because the fact of the matter is it's very competitive right now with service-based business. Everybody wants to do some sort of marketing online. And if you're not willing to get in front of the camera, show your face, be presentable, be articulate, you're not gonna win, okay? Especially if you don't have a brand to back it, testimonials, current clients, any of that, you're cooked. Get in front of the mirror, practice how you speak, and get good at it because your life depends on it. I hope you enjoyed that video. Subscribe for more information on business content, mindset, all that sort of stuff. If you're looking for one-on-one business coaching from somebody that has built a 6-figure online business, check out the link below for that and also my free newsletter. But I will see you next time, and I hope you enjoyed the video.